Hi.
Hi.
I am very excited. So I was motivated by a podcast that came out within the past year, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, called Wiser Than Me. She interviewed women who were older than her. And great interviews. It's a great podcast.
It really
if you're
is
interested,
good.
you should check it out. She did like Gloria Steinem and Billie Jean King and Diane von Furstenberg, like so many people. But the takeaways are like, I mean, and she says this: if the world was run by gray hair women, it would just be a better place. And these women are full of wisdom. So I'm going to get like a little emotional.
Uh-oh.
I've been so lucky to have you in my life.
Oh, well,
and it
you.
really
and
is.
I feel the same way.
Well, you are truly wiser than me and most people in my life. But I was very lucky very early in my career to meet Carole, and she's been my mentor my whole career, and
I stole her away from her first job.
That was a good thing. Trust me, it was a very good thing. But I think you have so much to offer, and you're so vibrant. You have more energy for aging and wellness and physical therapy than therapists who are half your age. And so I just think your energy is abundant. I know how much you've influenced me, and I know you've done that for so many people who haven't been fortunate enough to stay in your world. So I have. So I just have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Because she is way wiser than me. I guess, so a couple of things, and I'm stealing these from the interview. What were some of the best pieces of advice that you've had through your life in terms of, and you can speak to this either professionally or on being healthy and like how wellness or health has influenced your life?
Best piece of advice that I've received.
That you've received.
Okay. Oh, goodness. Let's see.
And I am truly putting her on the spot.
You are totally putting me on the spot. Gosh, okay. I think it started very early with my first job at the county hospital, where I sort of had this mentor. They called him the Silver Fox, and he would call me in to look at evaluation of patients. And one of the things he did was, I was very set on like looking for those impairments. And he would pull me back and say, what's the whole picture? And I think sometimes we lose the whole picture. It's good to get the details, but sometimes you just got to step back, take a breath, and see what that whole picture is. I mean, that was a really good piece of advice.
Brilliant.
Gosh,
and I see you doing that.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Well, thank you. I had we called her Dr. Ruth. I think she was even better than Dr. Ruth. She was one of my teachers in my master's program, and she was just one of the pieces of advice, and I can't wait. She says, the older you get, the more you can do the things you want to do. She taught sex and aging to us, and she was just this kind of 80-year-old wild child, but it was just such a great role model that, I think sometimes when you're younger, and rightfully so, you're afraid to do some things because it could mess up your whole rest of your life. By the time you get 70, you could probably do those things because you don't have that many more years to live.
And if you already hadn't made that person mad, you were like, do you find yourself living more freely? I
do. I mean, I find myself, I actually resent when I have to do something I don't want to do, whereas I think when I was younger, I did a lot of stuff that I really didn't want to do. Now, I try really hard not to do it.
Are you better at saying no now?
I am, or at least making up better excuses.
Oh, so I know when I get an excuse.
Never. I love hanging out with you.
Okay. And then are there any, like if you looked back, what would you tell your younger self? Like your 25-year-old self starting out?
Okay.
Is there anything you would tell you?
Yeah. Tons, yes. I would say cross-train. Totally tell people to cross-train. I was an addicted runner. I'd run 30 miles a week. And, 5 years ago, I started having back pain because I have a lordosis. A lot of people have that where your back kind of has a little curve in the lower part. Running is probably not the sport for you, but I loved it. Oh my gosh, I ran the Golden Gate Bridge at sunrise. I would teach in cities, and I'd make sure I'd either come a day early or late, or I'd run after the class to do something in each city.
Wow.
I ran the Beta Breakers in San Francisco. I mean, I ran, what's the mountain in Hawaii that has a tunnel that's completely unlit. In Hawaii, anyway, in Hawaii, I ran whatever that mountain is. But I loved running.
Haleakala?
May have been, maybe.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I'm blanking a little bit, but I'll remember someday. Anyway, but I think if I had to do it all over again, I was in Hawaii. I should have swam, or biked or rode, but don't. And no one listens. Don't do the same sport as your aerobic for. I did it for like 50 years.
No, I remember you were running marathons when I met you.
It's so. But I'm paying the price. I have to really work on my back so that it doesn't hurt. So I would say don't cross train.
Okay.
I would say find good friends. Find people that you enjoy being with. We have a little GNO group of these girls that get together and we just laugh. That makes life so enriched. Appreciate your family. Your family means so much, and enjoy that time that you have with them. And then stay in a profession that you love. And the one thing about, and I know physical therapy is hard work. I don't think we get paid enough. Hopefully that will change. But you do something that's so meaningful, and find something that you get a lot of joy and meaning from, because it'll make every day a wonderful day.
That's so well said.
Oh, well, thank you. With no prep.
With no prep. I won't drill you, but just one more, touching a little bit on our profession, I think.
Okay.
And just maybe some trends that you've seen that make you excited or not so excited.
Okay.
Kind of in maybe the direction that you think we are going or should be going as physical therapists, or even just, specifically as physical therapists, I think.
So the trends that I see that are good is that we're more independent. That someone could walk off the street and go to a physical therapist. Yes. When I first got into it, you couldn't do that. We were under the thumbs of the physiatrist, and that is not the case anymore. Yeah. We're trained, we're independent, we totally function as a high level practicing healthcare professional. Yeah. What I don't like is managed care, and I've heard that Medicare is trying to move 50% of people that now have managed care to 100%. And it scares me to death because I see the negative sides. One of which is, if you're well, managed care is great. It's just like, if you have an insurance plan and you never get sick, they love you. But what happens when you get sick and you need to go to a nursing home or a hospital? The way the plans work is the paperwork and the prior authorization makes it so difficult for you to get what you need that it's meant to not be good for you. It's meant to be good for the system to save money, but it's not good for you, and it really minimizes the impact that I think physical therapy and rehabilitation can have in getting you back. I see people in their 70s that have 30 more years to live. If they have a stroke and nobody helps them, they could live for 30 years, but they're going to live in a bed. It's going to be horrible.
And care's cut off way too soon.
Yes. So that's a trend that I don't like. But those are, I think that's the top two.
Yeah. Could you have imagined your life doing something different than physical therapy?
Oh, wow. Oof. Maybe I could be a jet ski salesperson in Jamaica.
Ooh, I like that. You've been so committed to our profession and contributed so much to our profession, especially in the field of aging. I can't imagine you doing anything else, and thank goodness that you did not do anything else, because you've made our space as physical therapists so much better.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for playing my
it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
This was wonderful. Great perspective from one of the wisest women I know.
Oh, you're so sweet. You make me cry. Don't do that.
Thank you.